Yo, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showcasing off with the first duel, full power cheater dragon rulers. I mean, he's got multiple pot of greeds over here, facing off against ice barriers. Now, ice barriers recently got a bunch of newer support over here, and we're going to go ahead and check them out and see if they're actually any good. If you guys are excited about ice barriers actually becoming slightly viable, drop a like on this video because you're about to see them actually be a little bit more viable than they were previously. And what I mean by that is better than they were, since they also had some extra support come out more recently, as well as all the additional support since Wayne. But nonetheless, ice barriers have always been kind of a meme deck, right, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, they have some of the most insane, powerful synchros, but when you actually look at, you know, the ice barrier monsters themselves, they were a real lackluster compared to, like, pretty much most of the meta. But nowadays, they're actually able to slightly compete with certain decks. And that is because they actually happen to have the ability to go ahead and make a really good synchro monster. Let's go ahead and reoccur and bring back things over and over. Now, these cards are going to get negated, obviously, over here. Because, well, you have to go ahead and negate to be viable in Yu-Gi-Oh! And with the new Trishula Sub-Zero, this is the new card over here that will allow you to go and banish 3 cards that your opponent has, and then when it goes away, it's going to bring something back over here, which we'll get into in a moment. I know the text of this card, because it was updated since this replay. What's going to happen is that the card's text just won't appear. It still has the same exact effect, and it'll say question mark, but it's the exact same card as it was previously. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and see Mirror Master go ahead and bring out some extra pluses over there. And then once again, that Trishula Sub-Zero is basically the key card over here. And banishing, well, Dragon Rulers can kind of benefit off of, you know, having some banished cards as long as they can draw a return. But at the end of the day, you definitely need to have your graveyard for Dragon Rulers to be a lot more viable. So he's going to go ahead and attempt to go ahead make something else over here. The famous rank 7 Big Eye. But unfortunately over here, crashing this is not actually the smartest thing to do. And he decides maybe it's not a good idea. The reason why is if you actually get rid of Trishula, the Sub-Zero, it brings out an even stronger version of Trishula in terms of the attack. So he actually didn't know what to do, and I don't really blame him, because he might be more of an not super old school Yu-Gi-Oh player, because Dragon Rulers aren't that old. I mean, they are older, but like back in the day, like you only made Dracosack and Big Eye. Those were like the 2 cards that you'd be able to go ahead and make that were really powerful. But nowadays, he just wasn't able to go ahead and keep it up. So Ice Barriers are going to be taking a W against full power old school Dragon Rulers, which is absolutely insane. But we got a lot more replays to go ahead and show you guys. I'm going to consider this an upgraded deck profile, which means that we will also see the deck lose. I don't want to just overhype, you know, Ice Barriers to overhype them, but that duel, I mean, how rare is it to see, you know, full power Dragon Rulers? The guy even played with Firewall Dragon, which, you know, that obviously was never in a time where both of those coexisted. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and see the Soundman Great Player go off. He's even got Parallel Exceed. Fantastic card. Going to go ahead and make that Verde Anaconda, which is a great card indeed. He's also got another follow-up of a Veiler. He's got Cosmic Cyclone. Not that this really helps him out too much. I don't really know the point of this. Banishing that card. There are certain times, though, where you want a spell card in the graveyard, so I can understand if it was against a very specific deck, like maybe, just maybe, if you're playing against something like the Sky Strikers. But for the most part, I think that was kind of a bad play. But again, this is the Sub-Zero. It just banishes things, and obviously since he was able to negate everything, he just was like, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and just say GG over here. But we're gonna go ahead and see the Sub-Zero Trishula die, and you'll see what happens when the Trishula actually goes away. So anyways, first off, Alistair, this is Invoke Shaddoll. It's a very popular deck, and I still think that that's a very powerful way to go ahead and play the deck, as you're able to go ahead and instantly get some wins. Sometimes you summon Window, it's game over. But in this case, regardless if you made Window or not, Gamma Steel's going to go ahead and say hi and disrupt that Macabre over there. But Ice Barriers are definitely a deck where I would say it's underrated, and people laugh at it all the time. I mean, if you duel someone with Ice Barriers, they aren't going to be taking you very seriously, but they have gotten a lot of nice cards, and more recently they got the Vessel Miko. This card is quite nice when controlling the Ice Barrier. Your opponent can't change their battle position, so that's only really countering Karakuri, to be honest. But it's just another card that you can go ahead and have access to, because it's just, if you control the Ice Barrier, you can special summon it. then you can banish it to go ahead and get an Ice Barrier token, which can act as another Ice Barrier card for some of the other cards. With Clear Wall, if you control 3 or more Ice Barrier monsters, they're unaffected by monsters that were special summon from the extra deck. So you do happen to have some like anti-extra deck stuff. Like the deck isn't really just make Trishula auto win. You can control the board a little bit more. In fact, we have an amazing video coming out very soon, which is like an anime level duel that is all about a control variant of Ice Barriers. I'm going to save that one for another one because the duel is legitimately way too long to fit in here for the upgraded deck profile. But once again, you saw the Sub-Zero die, and I mentioned before that when this card goes away, it's going to bring back a Trishula with 3,300 attack, and then he's just like, well, that's kind of unfortunate. And then on top of that, that's not all. Then the current attack of any face-up your opponent monster's controls becomes half, and also their effects negated. So if you get rid of the Sub-Zero Trishula, not only does your opponent just get out a really strong Trishula for like no reason, it also halves everything that you have and negates them all. This card is probably the star player of the Ice Barriers, and obviously Ice Barriers can make it quite easy. But I want to go ahead and show you guys ways that the deck would lose, because like I said, with the channel series in these upgraded deck profiles, we're going to be showcasing off the deck lose as well as get some wins. So in terms of like what the deck loses to, it's basically what other decks would lose to in Yu-Gi-Oh, which is, well, if there's too many negates and you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, then you simply can't play. I would say that that would be the only thing that it really loses to. Technically, if you run into like Macro or Deep Fissure, that can also be a problem because a lot of the cards get benefits off of, you know, a card in graveyard, you get to special summon the card or whatever the case might be. This guy's actually playing Magical Triangle, which I actually think is a pretty good card, even for like Legacy, like old Ice Barriers, which what it does, even though it didn't get to go off right there, you reveal 3 Ice Barrier monsters with different names. You get to select a card your opponent controls, pop it, and then summon an Ice Barrier from your hand. It allows you to go for some of the bigger monsters that just normally don't see too much play, like General Grunard. He lets you go ahead and during your main phase, you get to summon another Ice Bear. He's also level 8, so that can be great if you want to go ahead and make some other plays that are more or less conventional in the normal Ice Bears. But again, there's too many things to deal with, like, for example, like the Apex Avian, and on top of that, you also happen to have the Tri-Brigade engine, which can go ahead and start banishing things with the Omnious Omen over here, or Wicked Wings Shrike. It's just too hard to deal with this deck in particular. Not that this deck is even considered super meta, but I wanted to show you guys some variety over here. And since they already took on the legendary Dragon Rulers at full power, let's go ahead and face it off against the Egyptian god. So at the end of the day, is Ice Barriers going to be the best deck? Absolutely not. Even with some of the newer support, but they're so much better though, because again, back in the day, when the Ice Barriers first came out, because the archetype was basically free, as in like it was a hidden arsenal, people wanted to build the deck because they're like, oh, it's a new archetype, they've got some really good synchros, which was true. They did have really good synchros, but the archetype itself, when it first came out, was terrible. So the meme, you know, on the channel was always, yo, when are you gonna build the Ice Barriers? And like, I don't know why, for whatever reason, it was the most trolled deck. Like, it just really wasn't that great at all. And now he lost his entire board over here to, of course, the giant egg. And that's going to go right into the Winged Dragon of Ra. He's going to go ahead and bust out the Metal Reflex Sign, summoning the Slime God. He's going to try to go for a game, but he still has 1,000 life points. If he only paid those life points for that Winged Dragon Ra, he would actually maybe made a game. But Prior's going to go ahead and bring back another Ice Bear, bring back the Mirror Master, going to go ahead and be able to have that effect to go ahead and bring out an Ice Bear Tuner. There is a small little lock with Defender of the Ice Bear where it makes it so your opponent can't attack with monsters that are greater than or equal to this card's defense. So basically, anything 1600 or higher, not going to be attacking in the game. And then we also see the White Aura Whale coming out, which is a very resilient card if you're interested in grind games. You can go ahead and just banish one other water monster and just special summon it over and over and over again. And it is quite nice to go ahead and have access to over here. But we're going to go ahead and see Exchanging Souls. And Winged Dragon Ra going to come out with 3,100 attack, paying all of his life but 100. But the Infinite Impermanence is going to go ahead and say no to that over there, which is unfortunate for him, but that's just part of the Egyptian gods, man. Especially with, well, I think all of them should be able to have an effect where you can't target them. I know you're supposed to have Bound Creator in the deck, but I really feel like all of them really should have had that effect built in. I mean, they're god cards. Why can, like, you know, Gale be summoned and just half his attack and run him over if he's like 3k, you know, and going to like 1500? Like, it's just, it's sad, but Iceberry going to be taking another W over there. And this one's actually a pretty cool duel up against Charmers. So Charmers are seeing a little bit of play because they're coming out with a new starter structure deck. So you'll see this deck once in a while. It's a relatively slower paced deck, but I want to show you guys you know, how this deck can duel against this, as basically Sub-Zero is the star player of the archetype though. But we'll go ahead and once again see Mirror Master and then General Wayne. And like I said, these cards, sometimes when the application updates, the card's text goes away. Now, most people don't play Dark, but this card can technically attack your opponent directly, and sometimes you just need that small amount of damage. It's just because it's level 2 tuner, though. That's honestly the only reason. And obviously, Mirror Master is able to go and just bring out that real easy. As well as a little like a dog-looking card that can kind of technically lock your opponent. But again, sometimes you never know when you just need that one-tap card. And the whole defense thing where they can't attack, it's really hard to get that effect and really last long with it, because a lot of times your opponent will just bounce back the card and go for the game or whatever the case may be. But remember, with the clear wall from the extra deck, they might not be able to actually get rid of it. So I feel like that dog can be good sometimes. It's just kind of, do you happen to have clear wall or not? And a lot of times you will have that card anyways. Now Sub-Zero is going to go ahead and banish those triple cards. Crackdown going to go ahead and snatch steal the Sub-Zero. But remember, when this card goes away, another Trisha is going to be coming out. It's going to have extra attack, and it's going to half everything. Now he's going to go ahead and get some extra damage, and he only has 200 life points. Is he going to be able to come back? Well, he's got Medallion with the Ice Bear. Going to go ahead and search out and activate that to clear wall. Going to go ahead and special summon the Mirror, and then he's going to go ahead and get out Wayne. Wayne going to go ahead and have that effect to add, and then he's going to go ahead and special summon the Dark over there, making the Trisha Sub-Zero once again, banishing all the cards, and these are just going to be free attack targets over here with 0-0. Not looking too good for the Charmer player. Top deck's a Teamwork, or the Possessed Partnership as it's now called in the TCG. Excellent Karibo, but unfortunately he's not going to be enough because he's got double Sub-Zeros over there. But anyways, those are the gameplays. Let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profiles for this deck. So since this is an upgrade deck profile, we'll have several different builds over here, but I gotta give a huge shout out to D. Robin, as well as all the guys in the gameplay, because he sent in a bunch of the gameplays. But I'll go ahead and mouse over these relatively quick since it is an upgraded deck profile, so we don't have to sit here for a really long time. But I would say that, again, the archetype is looking much better than it was before, but I still think that it needs a couple extra cards to really give it that extra push to make it a lot more viable. And it really comes down to the older monsters just not being as powerful or as quick as what you would like to see in, again, most archetypes here in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I said, there are several different builds, but you can see the builds aren't really that much different. Like, yeah, Tactical Talents is here, but for the most part, most of them are playing like the exact cards. This card, Prior, is one of the best legacy cards that people will all play. And this card, and again, pretty much it's Defender of the Ice Barrier, but with, again, Mirror Master, like, you get to summon any Ice Barrier tuner, and sometimes this card can come up. I will legitimately admit it, but there's also a Defender, which is 3, so sometimes, depending on what level you're trying to go for to make whatever synchro, because the great synchros in this, Gungnir is also great, but like, these are the go-to cards. Obviously the Nutritional as well. These are like the go-to ace cards, and also Totally Awesome is great to go ahead and have. You guys saw we were able to negate the Shadal card and then also reset it. Not that we're going to be making any Shadals, but again, it's just to go ahead and have that extra negation. I have also seen Frog variants, but I want to keep it more like classic over here. But like I said, I'll mouse over all of the cards, so in case you guys are playing you know, in real life or whatever, you can still go ahead and copy these decks. And I don't think we went over the extra deck for this one. Okay, so yeah, most of them are pretty much the same cards. This one is playing the Majestus Dragon Farm over here, and then this is the other build over here, which was playing against the Salmon. Great player, but there's nothing too specific that's different in the build that really changes it up. Some people don't play Attendant over here. This just lets you tribute it, summon a level 5 or higher from your hand. If this card was from the deck, this is the card that they really overhyped, honestly. They were like, this card's going to be good in Warriors, it's going to be good in Waters, but I just don't see it at all. But the problem with this is the other part of its effect is if this card is in the graveyard, except the turn that it was sent to the graveyard, you target a level 3 or higher water monster control, reduce its level by 2, and then resummon the card. If this card was a tuner and you could get that effect the same turn, then this card would actually been really good, and you could mix it in Waters and it would actually be super viable. But again, they even said it was supposed to be working with warriors, and the only warrior deck that's meta pretty much right now is going to be any variant of like the Infernal Knight, Warrior Isolde Turbo decks, and like I just don't see how they were just gonna mix this in it. But yeah, these were the different builds over here. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the video. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new here and you want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh gameplay, like I said, I have an amazing anime status ice barrier duel that I will go ahead and upload very soon. But it's so long, I didn't want to include it in this one. But pretty much at the end of the day, ice barriers are looking good in the upcoming future. But even with the new starter structure deck, I think they still need a couple extra cards to be somewhat more in the meta section. But if you guys want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh videos and you are new here, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and you'll definitely see more in the future. But take care, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. And I'm signing out. Peace.